revenue and net income growth year over year. For a second year in a row, more centers reported a decline in revenue year over year versus those growing. Again, this is not, a shock. I mean, fortunately, we had 36% that reported growth, but in some cases that may be that they're comparing last year when they were closed, or they are in 2020, they were closed or mandated to operate at 50% by government, state governments, in order to maintain the social distancing required. So I don't think we can be confident in it that this was actual growth, business growth, or new utilization growth. The majority of providers, again, no surprise, also reported a decline in net income year over year of about 33%. And so really those numbers, go very well together because money in, money out. And actually providers got as frugal as they could be until some of the stimulus money was, put into their pockets. The most successful or important factor for center success strategies coming up in 2022 and 2022 is already, in progress, is customer satisfaction. I think that the industry is always concerned about, maintaining their customer base and making sure that their customers, being parents and children, feel safe and loved, and also educated, and safe being the number one. And that still is very much on everyone's mind, is that our environments are safe and will not be, not see outbreaks of COVID, that could cause extreme harm to children and staff and parents. The other issue, of course, is how we are, what we can do to maintain our employees, and also improve upon our education and our programs. And as Dr. Moore said, more of our providers are looking at ways to help employee retention, such as offering benefits. And I think that we are seeing some progress in health benefits and also paid time off. But what we're not seeing in this industry is retirement benefits, and we're not seeing salaries, again, that go back to recognizing the education of the people that are managing and teaching young children in childcare situations. And so it can be pretty tough if the public schools, who are also the K through 12 arena, is feeling the pinch of not enough people entering the field of education for salaries. But if you are a four-year degreed early childhood educator, and you are working in childcare, and you're serving lunch and cleaning classrooms and educating children and doing all of those things for half of the pay that you could get going to the public school and teaching K through third grade, even if your heart is with the under kindergarten age, and make double the salary and have a retirement plan and actually only work, about 190 days a year, you may choose that for not only your good health, but also for the health and welfare of your family, especially with the rising cost. Because right now, the raises we're giving people in childcare, it's not even coming close to helping them deal with the economy situation that we have right now, where prices are high and people are paying more for food, gas, and necessities. What are centers planning for 2022? Well, again, no surprise, centers are considering a price increase in 2022, 57%, so over half. And again, not a big surprise, because people are already thinking about their increased cost due to our current economy situation. And also they're concerned that they can't take back the hourly wages, they're going to have to increase even more, because in spite of the increases in wages, we are still not seeing enough people apply in the industry to fill all the positions that are open. 21% of the centers reported they're adding additional products and services to stand out. And certainly in higher income communities, that, is something that centers do. They have dance classes right there at the center, karate classes, soccer, and they charge an additional amount of money. But at the same time, you've got to be in a higher income area to be able to offer and get parents to pay for those. So something to think about when we already have many of the children that are qualifying for subsidized childcare. Only 1 in 6 are served, and a large portion of them live in what is known as a childcare desert, where there are no centers that are able to serve the 0 to 6 age group. And then 17% of the centers are considering expanding their locations. And one of the things we're seeing in the industry is we're seeing franchise growth. There are 3 to 4 major franchise companies that are really promoting growth in childcare and actually building new centers. But again, most of these are in higher income areas. And while that is great, that those communities are going to be served, we're still not able to afford opening childcare centers. It doesn't pay a provider to open a childcare center in a low income area where they would have to actually, it would cost them more to provide the high quality care than they could charge a customer in that income area. So something to think about there. And then 11% of the centers reported we're looking at acquiring new locations. What we are seeing too is we are seeing some of our large companies that are acquiring some of our smaller providers, especially if those providers own, a small group of centers. And so we're seeing growth in larger companies versus, small businesses. And right now, 93% of licensed childcare centers and homes are small business. And so again, it kind of goes back to the community that Dr. Moore was talking about. And some parents really like dealing with, a center that is community based. And we really should offer parents, multiple choices of high quality that fits their family's needs and demographics. All right, revenue growth strategies. Centers rank the following risk in order of relevance to their organization. Well, I don't think it was any big surprise that the number one risk is financial. I think that's probably the same answer that people might have given even before the pandemic, because again, it's always been a very fragile, business financially. And in spite of the importance of this industry to our nation's economy, we've allowed it to, we've allowed it to be fragile and not really put any type of government investment into it that might help people open more centers and serve more families. And then of course, labor is second. And I think everybody on this call that is a director or an owner knows that labor is the largest percent of the revenue that comes into of the revenue spent. In most cases, it's an average of about 60 cents of every dollar that comes in, which that in comparison to other service industries is several 100% more. And so the profit line is, again, fragile. And we are going to have to see some government investment that will continue after the stimulus checks to do what we all know needs to be done from years and years of research, and that is to make it equitable, affordable, and accessible for all young children in our nation so that families can go to work and that we can build those bridges and roads. We passed a stimulus or we passed a infrastructure bill in our country to repair things that have been long overdue, but there's a concern that there's not going to be enough workers to do it because we need the human infrastructure. So I really have to reinforce that we need some help with this, and we need for the industry and everybody that works in it and families to let their senators know how important this is, because it's on the table right now. And if we want to have a strong future, we're going to have to make that call or send that email and let them know that we need ongoing financial support for our young children and families.